reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 209. I'm Chris, and I'm joined once again by my favorite winner of Fancy Pants contests, Mr. Layanor himself. Hello, Minion Master Layanor.
No, I think Bill won that. I'm pretty sure Bill won that.
Consensus, Bill, Layanor won, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So.
Who's consensus? Is he related to Confucius? Confucius. Those big words.
Hey, that was at MMO Bill that you heard there. Hi, Bill.
Good evening. It's Consensus and Confucius are the direct second cousins of consensual, I believe.
Oh, that is all sorts of awesome right there. Hi, guys. It is another week of MMO gaming talk here. We've got some fun stuff to talk about this week. I've got some fun stuff to talk about and what I've done in-game. But first, we're going to start with Bill. Bill, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing, and before I actually even jump into what I've been playing, I think it's important to point out what I've been watching other people play. Those of you who might be a little bit Canadian know that NHL playoffs right now, the Canucks are hanging on to a playoff spot, and I love it. But out of just a really weird space in my life that I have a really hard time articulating, I'm also feeling a lot of Go Flames Go. Which is very...
What?
I know, right? Well, if the Flames make the playoffs, the Kings won't.
So really,
Right.
You're not cheering for the Flames, you're just cheering against the Kings.
I am hating the Kings. The Kings can go just pound sand.
I understand, Bill. I understand completely.
The Kings can just link drop all the time. I wish them high latency and bad tanks.
So, in other words, gaming with me.
Anyway, so once I got past that, I actually, for the very first time, spent a significant amount of time in Marvel Heroes. I fired it up with actually my kids watching, and now that's officially known as the Superman game, because obviously Superman is in Marvel Heroes, but he's 3. Give me a break.
That's awesome.
Anyway. He's quite thrilled every time he sees Iron Man and Spider-Man and everything like that. And this week they've just introduced the Iceman character.
Yeah.
So I was playing. I decided I let my kids pick, and they wound up picking the Human Torch for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I started off playing. Now, the interesting bit is that there's a little soundbite that comes up when the Human Torch and Iceman are standing next to each other. And I wish I could. Dang it! I was racking my brain trying to get it exactly, and it's something to the effect of, "Oh, look, it's Iceman! Hooray!" I thought I heard a big drip, and my kids just howl with laughter at this. It's the funniest thing anyone's ever said. So I think
awesome.
We need to get that. We'll find that clip and we'll dump it into the edited show at the end. So anyway, Marvel Heroes, enjoying that. Playing a little bit of Guild Wars 2 as well. I ran I can't remember if I said it last week or not, but I finished running my Ranger up to level 80, either very early this week or late last week. Anyway, level 80 ranger, so I've got three 80s now.
Nice.
And it's not bad. I feel like I've got to start doing some more end game though. I was looking at dungeons and everything like that, and I think I need to get sorted with a good dungeon running guild again in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
Because I've tried the whole dungeon finder and everything like that, and it's not bad, but you run into some very snarky groups. I'm still not good at Guild Wars 2 dungeons. I don't have them memorized. I don't do speed runs. My gear is not. I'm running celestial gear, which is basically even stats across all attributes instead of stacking everything on power like dungeon runners usually like you to do. And people get snarky about that kind of thing. So I want people who aren't snarky. I don't know. I feel like I'm asking a lot, but maybe not so much. Anyway, so that was my time in Guild Wars 2, having fun there. And I popped into Elite Dangerous. I got wings all patched up and everything like that. And I'm wanting to play more Elite Dangerous. I'm finding that Elite is, I think I've mentioned it before, Elite is not a game that you can play for a few minutes at a time. Like the best you could do is you can do like one trade run, but that's still like 20 minutes of looking for a system that's got demand for the stuff that you can buy.
Right.
It's getting yourself all prepared. It's getting distracted by anomalies and that kind of thing as you're flying around in space. It's getting interdicted and hijacked and all that kind of stuff. It's even just a simple thing that should take 2 minutes is 20 minutes or half an hour. Mm-hmm. So, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. I'm only complaining about it in the context where I only have like 15 minutes to play, and I can't spend 20 minutes. So,
and, I streamed earlier tonight and last Friday as well, and I spent maybe 2.5 hours playing. Actually got our most recent patron during that live stream, which was really cool.
Oh, nice.
And so I was bounty hunting all night. Now that my guns can fire, of course I shoot everything, right?
That makes bounty hunting so much better, isn't it?
So and lots of people came to watch just to make sure that I actually could fire my guns, because apparently there was some doubt and discussion about that. Yeah, so I totally get it, because I spent 2.5 hours in there, and it would totally, if I was to edit, because I did put the sort of lump sum stream on YouTube. It should be posting tomorrow morning. But if I was to edit that, really, instead of just release the raw stuff, I really should fast forward probably about 98.9% of it, and then the little bits of fun totally make up for it. Absolutely.
It's not even boring. It's boring to watch, I'll grant that, but even just regular space flight, if I'm exploring a system or trying to get that far distance sun or something like that discovered, I still like that. I still like. Yeah,
but it's not exciting streaming, or not like watching awesome television. That's why they have time lapsed stuff, so you don't have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. It doesn't make for good streaming or good TV, but it makes for good playing still.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I want to just play a little bit of a video that I found. I think this was on Reddit, and this is a race that was had, and this is one of those things where edited video put together looks really, really fun. So they've got this race, and they start inside of one of the stations, the big circular ones, right? The orbital ones, not the platforms. Mm-hmm. And then they all go. And this looks like just so amazing and so much fun. But then you got to think that this is maybe 1% of the gameplay time for these players was this fun stuff. Not just this fun stuff, but you know what I mean, right? Like, edited together like this, it makes the game look so exciting. But the game itself
really
is not
exciting. It makes it look good is with wings, the camera angles that you've got here. That's all part of the last patch. Like that's all stuff.
But watch as they go around the station, and they're going through the girders of the station. This is really, really cool. Like, this was a fun thing. So yeah, I found that really, really awesome. So I'm going to do a shout out to A Wintry Guy. So youtube.com/A Wintry Guy. A really cool race video from Elite Dangerous and all sorts of different classes of ships and stuff like that. So really a well put together video. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. But yeah, it was kind of exciting. I also, yeah. Isn't it? The other thing that I did today, too, because I've decided I want to become a really good dog fighter. So I did some changes to my setup with my joystick, and I got my flight assist to toggle so I can turn off my flight assist and do more maneuvering using inertia and stuff like that. So I was totally doing it today where I would gun it towards someone and then turn off my flight assist and keep that inertia going and then turn and fire as I was going away from them, and then turn flight assist back on, shoot the throttle forward. I was actually, I wasn't very good at it, but I was getting that sort of experience and really, really enjoying it. It was a lot of fun. I'm up. If you don't count the $32,000 that I had to pay when I had to explode my own damn ship because I was out of fuel, if you don't count that...
Oh, no. Chris, you've got to invest in fuel scoops. I don't care if you're a bounty hunter.
Weapons.
No.
Need more weapons.
Fuel scoops do not come at the expense of weapons. You don't put fuel scoops in weapon spots.
Yeah. Anyway,
there's nothing better than a fuel scoop because there's nothing more embarrassing than telling the entire internet that you ran out of gas in the middle of space.
I did, and the chat room was like, do it. Do it. I'm like, I don't want to blow up my ship. Do it. Do it.
Now,
So
do you have missiles or anything like that in your ship? Did you consider trying to get some momentum going by firing a missile?
No, I had enough. See, the problem was I was bounty hunting in a system with no stations. And I was too low on fuel to get to another one, and I did not want to spend the 4 years to slowly fly to another star system.
Oh, yeah,
So-
fuel scoop.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna keep it up.
They actually changed the way fuel scoops work. They don't actually damage your ship near as much as they did before.
Oh, really? I almost blew up from heat too.
Yeah, no, I noticed on my ship when I was scooping, normally I would hover right around 100% of my maximum heat. And with the new patch, I wasn't even hitting 80%. I was able to basically just almost kiss the gravity well of the sun.
Yeah.
And still scoop up without getting too hot. It was almost cheating.
I'm so sad that Harry Hall's not here as we're having this great elite discussion.
Yeah.
But we have to get a wing going weekend day.
Well,
And
I've
I
tried
say
to
we
add
go full
you.
pirate. And
I've tried to add you like 10 times onto my friends list in Elite, and you ignore me every time. I'm just
'cause
saying.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah, well.
We know that. I even have my own theme song. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Anyway, speaking of assholes, what have you been playing this week, Layanor?
Oh, so much editing.
Oh, I love you so much, Layanor. Platonically, of course.
Well, I got into something a little bit different and played a game called Darkness Reborn. This is a Android. I don't know if it's on Apple or not. Apple thanks. But this is an Android game that is a RPG and plays a lot like Diablo, but with a Marvel Heroes control scheme.
Okay.
It's very action-packed. It's you get skills, you level up, and I think it's still a newer game. It came out late 2014, and they're adding more things still to it, so it's kind of neat.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many similarities between Marvel Heroes and Diablo, right? So,
Right.
I mean, it's David Brevik that made Marvel Heroes. So, There you go. You were saying, though, Layanor?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the video.
And yes,
so yeah, I haven't really gotten
hold
into
on,
it.
Wait, Darkness Reborn is available on Apple Thangs, and
All
will
right.
soon be on my iPad.
Very cool.
All right, sorry, you were saying.
So yeah, this game's kind of neat. If you have a mobile device, pick it up. It's free to play. I haven't looked at too many things. Like, I don't know what you buy in this game, or if you buy characters or outfits or what. I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of that stuff, but it really throws you into the game like instantly, and you have a lot of fun. It doesn't really show you very many tutorials and stuff like that. Everything's all pretty easy, and you get into it instantly. So other than that, I got to level 64 in Guild Wars 2.
Nice. You're getting there.
Been grinding and grinding. It's a lot of fun. I got into PvP. PvP was a lot of fun, which was WoW.
Whoa.
So I got to get into a lot of that.
Oh, good for you.
And I'm starting to think that my server sucks because there's hardly anybody on.
Did you go on Henge of Denravi?
I have no idea what that is.
Isn't it like mega servers anyway?
Not for WoW.
Oh, right. Yeah, we suck at WoW.
Entirely dependent on your server.
Yeah.
We were good for a while. Like there was
like 30 seconds where we didn't suck.
No, it was like late 2014. We had several months where we were just destroying every other server we went up against. But I think what had happened was we played basically at the edge of what we were actually capable of doing, and they bumped us up a tier and got obliterated by people who actually take it seriously.
Yeah. I was in WoW during that time when we got bumped up, and it was painful. Anyways, what else were you doing?
The last thing I got into was the Secret World. I've been grinding a lot of AP and SP out to max out my skill wheel, and I got into augmenting. And what augmenting is, what you do is you go into a bunch of what are they called now? They're skirmishes. You get into a bunch of skirmishes and you get this currency from it. And what you do is you get buffs for your skill bar, which is a little bit different than everything else. There's about 12 different skills that you can get that say something like skills in this slots do more damage, they heal you more, stuff like that, like, passive buffs. And what they do is you actually hook them to slots on your skill bar. So if you put it on your first slot where your main attack is, your main attack will always get these extra passives. And you can do this for each one of your skill bar slots.
Okay.
So there's just even more detailed stuff that I'm grinding out now in this game.
Wrapping my brain around it, because it's
like if you take Guild Wars and you put a separate passive system on it where you can just slot in different skills just above your skill bar slots. So your main attack will now heal you every time, or you could switch it out to do bleed damage on other things, and do that. It's just
side grades,
it's one of the things that
alternate advancements.
It's something I really never even looked at, and now am totally surprised that is in the game. So I'm looking forward to grinding those out as well.
Cool.
And
that's
pretty much what I've been doing.
Awesome. Well, as for me, as I mentioned, I played a lot of Elite Dangerous. I also played some Marvel Heroes. We'll have some more information on this, but we're going to have a streaming night on the network with a bunch of people from the network playing our Avengers in Marvel Heroes, and it'll be fun. We'll have each of us. I think it's a maximum of 5 people in a party, so we'll get 5 of us together and play some Marvel Heroes right before Avengers 2 launches, which I'm so excited about. Oh my god, so much fun. And with that one, I played my Thor for a little while, and I was kind of jumping all over the place, kind of doing everything. Did my Captain America for a little bit, my Nova, because that's the closest I'm going to get to Quasar right now, and I'm still waiting for Quasar. David Brevik, where's my Quasar? Thank you very much. And then I also played some Hearthstone. and kind of got into it and actually built some decks with some tactics behind it rather than just kind of putting stuff that might work, and I'm surprised at how much more I'm winning. Okay, surprised is the wrong word. I'm not surprised at how much more I'm winning, because, yeah. But it's fun. Although I am so annoyed, and I know there's people who play just for this and are perfectly happy to get like 10 losses as long as they can get this one win, where the other side will get one card down and then put a whole bunch of variables, and it has like 95 attack, and boom, you're dead. Right? And they're waiting for that one moment where everything works out right. And I'm starting to recognize some of the people who do that, because I beat them most of the time. And then when everything comes together that one time, they're like, ha, yes, did it. That cheese play. And that's a perfectly valid play style for them, I guess. They really like that. But anyways, it's kind of annoying when I'm like, yes, I'm beating them. They're down to like 10. And I'm at 27 and then they kill me easy. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
For that one moment, it's just...
For that one moment, they are gods. Yeah, exactly. Have you heard... Is everybody following the 40-hour turn?
Oh, God,
that
what
the
a
guys
dumb
got going?
thing. That's just... I'm impressed with the ingenuity of it all, that they were able to put that situation together. But oh man, I guess they're streaming it so that they could get into the Guinness Book of World Records, and that's an easy way to record it.
Yeah,
I can't imagine wanting to watch that though. It's basically a GIF.
Once you see the GIF, you are all set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I watched it for 30 seconds, and there was actually a dude doing commentary en français, and I didn't obviously understand very much of it, but I'm like, what are you explaining? Like, what could you possibly be saying about this that you didn't already say 21 hours ago? Yeah.
No, I totally and utterly agree. But here's the thing. That guy was playing against himself. And set it up specifically to be able to do that, because he had to have the other side, like the character who was being attacked, had to be able to withstand that much damage without dying. So basically they set it up in a way that they have an ability on them that keeps them safe for one turn, and then the guy triggered the attack, which is going on, so it's still the same turn, so they're immune to everything for that turn, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how they did it. So yeah, if you watch the stream, he's got the little replay of the setup for it, and he's going back and forth between two computers to get it set up. But it's still, I find it interesting that somebody worked it out, because if you look, there's a couple stories that show the little piece of paper that he scribbled out the math on, right? And I'm just looking that up now. I think that's kind of interesting. Let me just throw it up on the stream here. Oh, ooh, come on. There we go. There we go. And work. There you go. There's the little piece of paper where he scribbled out all the math. And if you look at the stream, you can see that. That's more into Hearthstone than I will ever want to be. But it's supposed to take 43.68 hours. He worked out how long it would take, too. Yeah. Or somebody else worked out the math. I don't know if this is the person who did it. But anyways, I still think it's interesting. Maybe not necessarily something I'd want to do, but interesting nonetheless. Next Tuesday not next Tuesday, but well, by the time this podcast launches, March 31st, I'm going to be streaming with Patrick over from Lorehound. March 31st, some Neverwinter. So I've been playing some Neverwinter as well. Man, I want to play more of that game. Mm-hmm. When I'm playing it, and Harry noticed the same thing, when I'm playing it, it is like the best game. It's like, yes, I want more of this. And then I finish playing and I go off and do other things and I forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the same vibe. It happens for me too. And I don't know, short of never logging out, maybe that's the never part of Neverwinter. It's just Yeah, I don't know what to do to keep it forefront in my mind.
Yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to streaming with Patrick. He's my stalker from PAX and many PAXs. Played Lotro. I am level 98, I think, now with my Warden, almost level 100. So that's been fun. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was a graphics card patch or whatever, but that issue that I was having, the graphics issue, gone. I don't remember doing anything specific about it, but hey, whatever. Yeah, like just in one of the textures overlaying everything. But it's fixed now, so hey, awesome. Having fun with that. And I was mentioning this to someone else. There's something about what Turbine has done for the world of Lord of the Rings Online that make me connect with that world. When I was playing Elder Scrolls Online, and maybe it's just my own personal connection to Tolkien's works rather than to the lore of the Elder Scrolls, although I've played all the Elder Scrolls games and I loved them, what is it about Lotro that brings me into that world and does not in Elder Scrolls? Because they take similar approaches to creating this world. So I don't know what it is. I don't know.
There's a whole bunch of things. I believe we did like 100 podcasts on it, but
yeah, but give me specific points. Why is it that the world itself, I'm not talking about gameplay mechanics, I'm not talking about the broken party system at launch, I'm not talking about the combat that didn't work quite right. The world.
For me, it's the lore stuff. They don't cram the lore down your throat. Like, it's not, you're not walking this linear path that just follows the books or anything like that. It's like there's more subtle nods to the books or the movies or whatever that you come across from time to time. In Lotro. Okay. Than other games that have kind of based themselves on other IPs, like Marvel. Marvel Heroes exists to pound you over the head to the fact that it's Marvel Universe type stuff and everything like that. But it's its own
self-contained thing, right?
And Lord of the Rings itself kind of lends itself to that kind of subtlety. Like it's a. I want to say I don't know how you could say peaceful when I've probably killed literally a million orcs, but it just has a little bit more of a peaceful feel to it that I identify with the books and the movies, and it's almost like the pacing of the game matches the pacing of the books and the movies.
Yeah, I think with this push with Elder Scrolls, I'm going to go a little bit further and just see if the world opens up. It feels maybe a little confined. Maybe that's what it is right now with Elder Scrolls. So I'm going to give it a little bit more of a push. We're going to be streaming again on Wednesday night. Don't know if that's going to be before or after this This will be the night before this podcast releases. So you won't hear that, but you'll get to see the live stream highlights. Some PvP. So we're going to jump in, Ben and I, to some PvP. Mm-hmm. Last thing that I played, Skyforge. After our discussion last week, I jumped into the beta of Skyforge, and I want to make one correction. We talked, Bill, about the tiers of the pre-purchase offering classes as part of that. You can, in similar ways to Final Fantasy XIV's jobs, where you can have all of them, you can have all of the classes in Skyforge on one character. You create one character, and it can get all the classes. But with the different purchase packs, you can access those other two classes from the beginning rather than having to play through the game to get it. So I'm not sure if my scathing, my burning hatred of the way they'd done it stands after seeing that you can earn it in game.
No, that does make a difference. It's still annoying, but it's not rageful. When you put it that way. So
I think maybe while I may not agree with the prices, the content of said pre-order packs are, I think, a little bit more along what we think is appropriate, right? Mm-hmm. It's just stuff that helps you out. It's not something that breaks the game. but I did enjoy it. I played the Paladin class, I believe it's called. I only had maybe 3 or 4 hours in it before the beta shut down. I'll be going back into the beta. That starts up this week. Again, the next closed beta test Wednesday. So, interesting, like, futuristic steampunk, I guess. Like, high fantasy steampunk. I don't know. It's really interesting. Looking forward to getting some more time in game with that one. So that's what we have been playing in game. Want to do a very quick shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Last week during our live stream of Elite Dangerous, we got a new patron. Absolutely fantastic. It's so cool too because just earlier that day, and it's a totally different scale here than what they had, but earlier that day I had watched Twitch and watched someone go through like having a donation train and a subscription train, and saw them get, I think it was like $600 or $700 worth of donations and like 20 subs, which is $4 or $5 a month for them per sub. So it was really, really cool to see that. And then I'm streaming and it's like, ding, you have a new patron. It's like, awesome. I feel like I'm 12 years old or something like that. I'm like totally like talking about like totally. But yeah, it was just really, really cool. So that was awesome. So thanks to our new patrons. You can also all check us out at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. If you like what we do, you want to support what we do, then you can find that at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. We currently have 23 patrons for a total of $110. Our next milestone is $250, a patron-only discussion podcast with various members of the MMO Reporter Network. Something along the lines of like Too Long Didn't Listen style discussions from different members of the MMO Reporter Network. So I think it's time to move things along. So let's move along to the news.
I played to max level in this week's beta. Killed lots of monsters and found some awesome loot. I had some great fun in this week's beta. And I grew attached to my little virtual dude. So I ask, please don't delete my guy after beta. Please don't crush that part of my soul. Please don't delete my guy after beta.
With that, we have a somewhat semi-sad news. Final Fantasy XI, at least parts of it, is closing down. They're closing down the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 2 servers. They're planning on shutting it down next year, so if you guys still have time in your subscriptions or would like to get a subscription real quick to play it for a few more months, then that was the time to do it. Especially if you have any codes that you want to use up, because the time is now to use them. Other than that, the servers are cross-platform, so you can log into the PC and play the game on PC and still have all of your characters and all of your stuff. But the Xbox and PlayStation 2 servers are going down, and they're going to be releasing a mobile version of the game. So you're going to be able to play that on your Android and Apple things. So what do you guys think about that?
That's... Go ahead.
I was just going to say I never played it. I never like to see games shut down, but I mean, Final Fantasy XI has had a huge run. It's done well. Yeah, I mean it's kind of an interesting setting too. I wonder what makes the Xbox and PS2 versions not worth kind of putting into maintenance mode compared to the PC versions. Like, I'm wondering if there's something about them that either has more costs or they're more difficult to run or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of cool that it's going on to mobile, I guess. I'm still waiting for the mobile MMO that's interesting, but it could be out there. Maybe this is it. I don't know.
Well, I know that some of the problems that the PlayStation 2 had, which is there aren't that many people that could get the PlayStation 2 hard drive to put into their system.
Right.
And there wasn't that much space on it either. So if the game's going to keep expanding, that drive's going to fill up. And they don't, you can't get that stuff anymore. They're not going to be making any more drives. And the systems are a little bit more rare too, especially the fatter ones, not the thin PlayStation 2s. You need to have the bigger ones for the hard drive.
Right.
The Xbox 360 is probably not doing as bad as the PlayStation 2 one, but they probably are just going to shut them down, just the consoles, just because there's probably not that many people playing from a console at this point.
Well, and I think that with the move to the current generation of consoles, I'm not calling it next gen anymore. I refuse to do so. Excuse me. That's going to have a lot of people move forward. And, it's still a subscription game. And so as these consoles get older, as the player base starts to move along and requiring the subscription, it needs those numbers to keep going. They can't sort of have people come in and try it, buy a few things, and then keep going. But it moving to mobile, I mean, that's 2016 that it's coming out to mobile. It's not coming out anytime soon. I don't know. Like Bill said, it'll be interesting to see. There's a few MMO-ish games that are on mobile. The Legends sort of series, the Star Legends, I think it is, and there's a couple of other ones. They're okay. They're fun in and of themselves, but they are very pared down. It'll be interesting to see what they can do to try to put this full-scale MMO on a console, especially when not console, mobile. Most mobile experiences want to be something shorter. It needs to. I forget who it was that said if you can't have a meaningful play session in 30 seconds, then you're doing it wrong on mobile. That's not what MMOs are in any sense of the word. So
think about that. I mean, when are you going to run a 4-hour raid on your tablet?
Right, and Final Fantasy 11 was a grinder. It was a spend a bunch of time.
Yeah,
so,
it takes a lot of time just to get one level in that game. I mean, we're talking about hours and being grouped up in a group to do that. Now, they did change it a little bit so you could level a little bit quicker later on, but that was way, way later on, and it's still pretty grindy. And another thing, too, I don't know of any games that are on mobile that would require a subscription.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it will have a subscription. I think that they are taking this time to change the game. I bet you it'll be a much simpler leveling curve. I bet you it will be a much simpler game experience, and I bet you it'll be free to play.
Well, true. I mean, if they're not going to be actively developing it or adding content or anything like that, how do you have the cojones to have a subscription for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even if they do, I don't think it will work. I think mobile is just, I'm finding it hard to play to find the time. If I'm at home, when I have the time to play these games over a long scale, I'm going to play on my computer. I'm going to play on a console. I'm going to play on my Vita. I'm not, one of my kids' 3DSs, I'm not going to play for hours and hours on my tablet. Mm-hmm. I'm just not.
I could maybe see it if a subscription game, if it was like $1 a month subscription or something like that. And
yeah.
$1 a month unlocks everything that you could possibly do. I mean, that maybe sounds cheap or something like that, but I mean, really, we are talking about mobile here. I could see that being a thing, but I can't see anybody paying $10 or $15 a month. I mean, that's what they. No. I mean, for that money, they could buy themselves probably 5 new games every month.
Well, absolutely, but at that price, are we having more administrative costs per person at $1 a month than you're taking in? Right?
Does it cost more to accept their dollar than dollar?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. This is the first. I can't think of another major MMO that's made a move into the mobile space like this. I can't think of anything.
There's Ragnarok did.
Oh, did
which
it?
is the old Japanese game, which was over here too. Ragnarok. They switched over as well. The original game, not part 2. And
I don't remember how
it was free to play. It was very, very dumbed down. Like there were close to 20 some classes, and this one came out with like 3. So it's been done before, but it was really, really dumbed down. And I'm not even sure if that game's running now.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know how it's going to do. Interesting. All right, let's move things along to something a little bit more positive and a little bit more recent, but also very, very dungeony. Sword Coast Legends had a live stream this past week that I went and attended and watched. It wasn't really a live stream. It was a premiere of a trailer that they had shown at GDC, which focused on the single-player campaign. Sword Coast Legends is really starting to look like it's going to be, at least the single-player campaign, a really Baldur's Gate Neverwinter feeling type of game, which I gotta say, that's not a bad thing. It looks very similar to, the dungeon crawling aspects of it, the story aspects of it. In this particular demo, they showed off the fighter, the rogue, the cleric, and the wizard. One of the interesting things, other than the really cool spell animations, was that the rogue had like a search skill that created an area around the rogue that they could then go around, but they had to actively trigger this skill. So I don't know what the resource or anything like that was, but this was how they found a secret passage, and I would assume it can be used to find traps as you're going through dungeons, similar to what rogues could do in Dungeons and Dragons Online to find the traps in those dungeons. Very interesting hint of dynamic story progression where some NPCs, for example, were at a specific spot, and they mentioned that it was due to a player choice in a previous part of the story. So, you choose that this character is going to live or die or whatever you decide. Yeah, so overall, I mean, it looked like a really solid RPG as a single-player campaign. I would want to play this game. And the fact that there's a demo of the DM mode this coming week, I believe it's the Friday again. Where is it? No, the Thursday, the 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be attending that as well because, heck, that's just looks like a lot of fun, and I want to see what the DM mode comes like. And if you're interested, Gamers Nexus had an interview with Dan Tudge from the team at GDC, and they talked about the DM mode and some of the parts of that. One of the things that was interesting from that discussion was that the DM in the DM mode would have a resource called Threat, and it would cost Threat to put down monsters, to traps, to attack the players, basically. And you would lose Threat as you push those down, but then if you were successful against the players, you'd gain some of it back. So there would be this resource. If you spent all of it at once and did a party wipe, you wouldn't have very much as the players kept on trying to attack you, so they would get through. Whereas if you were strategic, you would be more successful as a DM. That's really interesting.
Well, and that's where it's turning it into something else. I mean, I was thinking of DM mode going back to original Neverwinter, where basically you were live running the game and playing in God mode, which was kind of cool, but in execution, it was an awkward way to run a D&D session. This is almost more like a kind of like 4 versus 1 PvP kind of thing,
right?
Where you're actually, instead of the DM driving the game and telling the story, which is cool, don't get me wrong, it's an actual game mechanic that's probably going to be a little bit easier to figure out and balance and play. So
it is gamifying it a little bit, but by doing that, they are taking away some of the power of the DM. Are you going to be able to create?
Yeah.
And we don't know the answers to these questions yet. I'm working on trying to get an interview, so hopefully we can get answers. But
the principle is cool. Like I said, I don't mind, like you said, gamifying the DM mode. It takes away from the kind of the sensibility that you have as an old school pen and paper, where DM is just God. You don't argue with the DM. Here, it's kind of introducing competition with the DM, which is out of the spirit of normal D&D. But practically, there's never been a game that really fits pen and paper D&D type DMing anyway. So I'm okay with this. If it makes for a fun game mode in a game that actually looks really cool, and I totally got a Baldur's Gate vibe watching it go.
Right.
I kind of get the feeling that must be a priority, is that they're not even necessarily going for the best mechanic or the smoothest performance or anything like that. That if it just brings back the Baldur's Gate vibe, that's what I'm picking up there, and that's what I'd like to see from this game.
Creators as well are Dragon Age members of the Dragon Age Origins team, right? So that's some pretty good pedigree there. I'm looking forward to this. I hope that there are some because we don't live close enough where we can have a weekly D&D session. Layanor, we've never met in person. Our folks down in Texas and people in Europe. It'd be nice to have a virtual way for us to get together. That's not. That is in that sort of pen and paper style, but helped virtually. So I hope that there's aspects where you can do that if you want to, and give a little bit more power to DM, as well as having this sort of DM mode for dungeon crawls. All right. On that very auspicious note, let's move along to talking about our sponsors, Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter to try an audiobook. Now, I bet you they have a huge amount of audiobooks that are set in a fantasy setting. I even have been stumbling because I am
desperately searching
right now. So, no, this is actually an R.A. Salvatore book.
Drizzt crept past the shielding shrubs and over the flat and bare stone that led to the cave now serving as his home. He knew that something had crossed this way recently, very recently. There were no tracks to be seen, but the scent was strong. Guinevere circled on the road.
So that is from Sojourn, Legend of Drizzt, Dark Elf Trilogy, Book 3. Go check it out, audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. You can sign up for a subscription. You get the first month free, and with that first month, you get a credit, which gives you one full book that you can keep forever. Even if you don't keep your subscription, you can still keep that audiobook. So go check out audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And our friends over at Doghouse Systems have changed up their deal for us. If you use the coupon code MMO Reporter at doghousesystems.com, you will get a free 120 gigabyte SSD drive with your purchase, which, as we were talking about last week, Bill, this is a bigger performance boost, most likely for most systems, than doubling your RAM.
Yep.
For load times, all that sort of stuff. So
an SSD drive instead of a mechanical drive is way faster.
Awesome.
It's magical.
So go check it out, doghousesystems.com. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter.
So Elite Dangerous had a little bit of an adventure this week. As some of you might know if you've been following Elite Dangerous, they had a big event several weeks ago, gathering materials to allow the Federation to create a Farragut class capital ship, which if you need kind of a point of reference, imagine an aircraft carrier for other aircraft carriers, basically. so this was a big event. There was lots and lots of people gathering medals. There was tons of money made, lots of piracy. It was a great event. And eventually, yes, they got enough gathered to manufacture this capital ship. So it took a while for that ship to actually get made, and I believe it got released with patch 1.2. It was actually just very recently that the ship was christened and taking off into space. Well, as it happens, some enterprising person, as this capital ship was passing near Hudson Dock, another full-size space station, which isn't a capital ship or military ship, decided that he'd take a pot shot at this capital ship just to see what would happen. Of course. So, of course, the capital ship returned fire, but missed. And at least missed once. Missed enough to go strike Hudson Dock.
Yeah.
So this basically created a Hudson Dock's automatic response systems kicked in, and it started attacking this new capital ship that had been created, and created a bit of a firefight between these two, between the station and the capital ship. This resulted in huge damage on the capital ship. It actually resulted in a bounty on the capital ship as well. It was a hilarious thing. It's basically a bug. I'm certain Frontier didn't intend for that to be allowed to happen, but it did, and there it goes. So, of course, the obvious response would be to just magically heal the capital ship and carry on with life, right?
Right, of course.
Right. Wrong. Frontier actually decided to kind of own this bug or this mistake and turn it into yet another event. So rather than just fix the ship, they're actually running a metal gathering event to gather materials and that to do the repairs to this brand new capital ship, and kind of treat it as a lore item that there was a glitch in this new ship that they made. It created a kind of a feedback between the base and the capital ship, but that wasn't supposed to happen, obviously mirroring reality fairly closely. And yeah, they're just turning it into an in-game mechanic. And I thought, wow, that's so cool to just own the mistake and wedge it into your lore. I think that says a lot, about the kind of the humility and the kind of the quick thinking of the dev team, but also the flexibility of the game, that's something that they can quickly just kind of shove in there in order to fit what's going on in the game in fairly live ways. Because I mean, they had this event posted within like a day or so of the bug happening. So I thought it was really cool. What do you guys think?
I think that's fantastic. A great way to again, like you said, have this absolutely fantastic experience in game. Anyways.
Yeah, it's just owning the mistake, because I mean, a bug is a bug, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't intend for these ships to have the other thing. I mean, the other piece of this too, the battle that was going on between the dock and the capital ship lasted for 3 hours.
Wow.
So it wasn't just that there was like a whole bunch of missiles launched and Hudson Dock just completely obliterated the ship. This was a 3-hour battle with constantly fighting each other, and players kind of diving in and trying to shoot down the capital ship as well to try to glom onto the bounty that was getting accrued and that kind of thing. It was a big event. So they, like I said, they just let it go, and yeah, it was cool. I think it would be cool if every game could kind of own their mistakes and kind of twist them around into something cool like that.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really cool. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now I want to go play Dangerous.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Okay, show's over. Bye. Actually, hey, just want another shout out to our awesome, super cool patrons over at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Of course, our two most recent ones are Burador and where is it here? Lee. So thank you very much. Oh, no, Burador, Timothy, and Lee. So thanks to all three of you for being our newest patrons. Thank you. You're awesome. Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, how would they do that?
Well, we'll take a deep breath and we'll get through this. Give us a visit over at mmo.reporter.com for the central hub of everything MMO Reporter. You can send us an email at mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at any of the MMO reporters, including at MMO_reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, at Layanor for Layanor, and at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778. You can visit our Zerg ID pages. Everybody's getting set up on Zerg ID here. You can find Almazar for Chris. You can find Woe, W-E-A-U-X for yours truly, and Layanor predictably for Layanor. It's our YouTube page, youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network. And finally, if you're looking to throw a little bit of a support, a little bit of monetary support towards the MMO Reporter Network, head over to MMOreporter.com/support. And there'll be a bunch of different ways that you can express your appreciation for the
what we
amazing what the stuff that we do. I wanted to say that the hours and hours of slaving over a hot stove baking this podcast for you, but it was more like a quick microwave dinner, but still.
Yeah,
that's what you think. You don't have to edit this stuff.
Yeah.
I do spend hours and hours over a hot keyboard editing everything together.
So, there you go. Here's an asshole for you to edit out.
Oh, man. All right. Thanks, guys. It's been a fun show, even with all the cursing that I will have to edit out. Really appreciate you guys coming out and recording with us tonight.
Awesome.
Oh,
Everything is awesome.
I'm holding the swears back. It's too difficult.
All right. As always, it is so cool to record this podcast with everyone. We really appreciate everyone coming out to our fantastic and super awesome chat room. It's been fun chatting with all you people as we record the show. You are super cool. We hope that you really enjoyed it. We hope that you enjoyed downloading the podcast and listening to it at your convenience, wherever you may be. Please download it again next week. We hope that you do that, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.